February 15th, 2026. 2 m. in the afternoon. A camera is rolling inside the caldera of Piton de la Fournaise on Réunion Island when the ground gives way. An ancient volcanic cone, one that has stood for thousands of years, simply collapses. What follows is something this volcano almost never produces: a pyroclastic flow, a burning cloud of superheated gas and solid lava blocks, moving at lethal speed across the caldera floor. This is not supposed to happen here. Piton de la Fournaise is a Hawaiian-type shield volcano. Lava flows. It does not explode. It does not collapse. It does not generate pyroclastic flows. And yet a camera captured the exact moment it did. To understand why volcanologists are paying close attention, you need to understand what led to this moment. Piton de la Fournaise has been silent since August 2023. 2.5 years without a single eruption. Unusually quiet for a volcano that has recorded more than 150 eruptions since the 17th century. Alongside Kilauea in Hawaii and Etna in Italy, this is one of the most persistently active volcanic systems on Earth. But silence on a volcano like this is never truly silence. In mid-September 2025, the seismographs at the Volcanological Observatory of Piton de la Fournaise began picking up deep tremors, faint, difficult to locate with precision, but unmistakable to the instruments that never stop watching. This is what magma movement looks like from the surface. Pressure building in the lower layers of the system. The volcano was not dormant. It was loading. Through November, the signals intensified. Shallow earthquakes increased. Sulfur dioxide emissions climbed toward detectable levels. On November 28, 2025, the observatory raised the alert to vigilance, a yellow alert signaling that an eruption could occur within days to weeks. Then came the intrusions. December 5, 2025, magma forced its way through fractures inside the volcanic edifice. It did not reach the surface, a failed attempt. January 1, 2026, a second intrusion. Again, the magma pushed. Again, it stopped short. Between January 1st and 9th, approximately 30 volcano-tectonic earthquakes per day were recorded, clustered between 1 and 1.5 miles beneath the northern and southern margins of Dolomieu crater. Think of these as the volcano testing its own structure, searching for the weakest path to the surface. Each attempt a little closer. Saturday, January 18, 2026, 4:34 in the afternoon. An intense seismic crisis erupts beneath the summit. Scientists at the observatory watch the data accelerate. 3 hours and 11 minutes later, at 7:45 in the evening, lava reaches the surface. 4 fissures tear open along the northern flank of the terminal cone. Inside the enclosed Fouquet caldera, lava fountains reach 65 feet into the air. By the following morning, flows have already advanced 2,000 feet eastward toward the Grande Pentes. Thermal satellite data recorded discharge rates ranging between 2 and 27 cubic meters per second, though cloud cover likely caused an underestimate of the actual figures. But this first eruption was brief. By 5 in the morning on January 20th, the volcanic tremor stopped. The eruption was over. Scientists estimated less than 1 million cubic meters of lava had been emitted over those 2 days. The alert level was lowered. Access restrictions were eased. The observatory, however, kept watching. Because the GNSS stations in the summit area were still recording inflation, the shallow magmatic reservoir was still being pressurized. The system had released some pressure, but not enough. February 6, 2026, between 3 and 4 in the morning, 343 volcano-tectonic earthquakes in a single hour, all below magnitude 1.0. A swarm so dense it registered as a continuous signal on the instruments, accompanied by slight ground deformation consistent with another magmatic intrusion. The third attempt, the third failure to break through. But the pressure kept building. February 13, 2026, 9:25 in the morning, an intense seismic crisis begins. 35 minutes later, lava is already at the surface. 4 fissures open rapidly on the south-southeast flank of the cone, near Dolomieu crater. Lava fountains between 30 and 65 feet high feed flows that race downslope immediately. By 11 in the morning, a 4th fissure opens near Petit Morne. Satellite data recorded discharge rates peaking at 63 cubic meters per second in the initial phase. To put that in perspective, Imagine 63 full bathtubs emptying every single second, except instead of water, it is molten rock at over 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Authorities activated the volcanic emergency plan at level 2.1 and closed the caldera immediately. They were almost too late. At the moment the eruption began, dozens of hikers were still inside the caldera. Some were standing less than 100 feet from the fissures when they opened. A high mountain platoon had to evacuate 87 people by helicopter. And then comes February 15th. The eruption has been running for 2 days. Lava has been accumulating upstream of an ancient volcanic cone, a structure that formed long before any of this current activity, standing inside the caldera as a remnant of a previous eruptive cycle. The weight and heat of the lava pressing against it becomes too much. At approximately 2:20 in the afternoon, the cone collapses. The collapse generates pyroclastic flows, small ones, but pyroclastic flows nonetheless. A burning mixture of superheated gas and fragmented lava blocks, moving fast across the caldera floor. The interaction between the incandescent lava and groundwater beneath the collapse zone triggers phreatic activity, water flashing instantly to steam on contact with molten rock, producing an enormous plume of smoke visible for miles around. A camera captures all of it. The observatory confirms this collapse was caused by the structural failure of the cone under the accumulated pressure of lava building upstream. The cone could not hold. The boundary between the lava and the cone gave way, and for a few minutes, Piton de la Fournaise behaved like a volcano. It is not supposed to be. Pyroclastic flows are the defining feature of explosive volcanoes. Vesuvius, Pinatubo, St. Helens. They are what buried Pompeii. They are why volcanologists treat certain eruptions as existential threats to entire regions. Piton de la Fournaise is not that kind of volcano. Its lava is fluid and basaltic. It flows. It does not shatter into burning clouds, which is exactly why February 15th matters. Even a volcano with a century of well-documented, relatively predictable behavior can produce phenomena outside its normal range when conditions align in the right or wrong way. The collapse remained inside the uninhabited caldera. The pyroclastic flows were small. No one was injured, but 87 people were evacuated by helicopter 2 days earlier. And if any of them had still been inside the caldera on February 15th, this would be a different story. The observatory continues monitoring. Seismic activity persists. Inflation data suggests the magmatic reservoir has not finished pressurizing. Piton de la Fournaise has now produced 3 magmatic intrusions, 2 eruptions, and 1 structural collapse in less than 2 months. This volcano spent 2.5 years in silence. It has made up for that silence very quickly. And the instruments are still watching.